Hello everyone and welcome back to my playthrough for Digimon World 2003. And since I've made progress off camera, I do have to show you various things just so you can see everything is in order. So I did have a water chip dropped by Shalmon. That will have to be sold since I'm not allowed to use it. TNT ball's still there, and from accidentally battling Cardmons, I've got CNR Booster 01 and 2 of these 2Bs. Weapons, well, there's the old wand that was given to me by Pharaohmon, the old claw that was given to me by Master Tyrannomon. I don't think they can be sold because they're significant items. Armour, nothing. Accessories, nothing. Important items, I assume, is the same as it was. Well, no need to sort because Kotemon's my only Digimon. Map techniques is only small hill. Status. So I've got 99 TP points. That's the highest it can go up to, because there's only room for a 2-digit number. So when I was level 20, it was 95, and then since being level 21, it's been at 99 TP points. Yeah, no weapons, no armours, no accessories, and well, that should be everything that I needed to show you. So since we left off, I continued battling Shalmon, continued grinding until learning Blade Twister, and in the process of doing that, Mon got up to level 26. And to be honest, I probably could have guessed that, because in my no gym, no equipment challenge, I know that when I defeated the leader, all 3 of my Digimon were at level 20. And when I went to the west sector, I remember still being at level 20 and having a really difficult time in the west sector and being forced to stop and grind. And at the Pouch Oasis, I grinded on Dolphmons via the fishing rod until getting all of my ultimate signature techniques. And from doing that, Kotemon got up to level 26, whereas Renamon and Patamon got up to level 27. And the amount of experience you get from Shalmon is virtually the same as the amount that you get from Dolphmon. So I just concluded that Kotemon would be about a level 26 when learning Blade Twister, and surely enough that was the case. And I'm not too worried about the first 2 Digimon. It's the 3rd one I'm worried about, because I believe it should be Shogun Gekomon, who can confuse you, and that can be highly problematic, because that can lead to you not being able to have any control over your turns until the confusion wears off, and before that happens, I could get defeated. So I've got pretty much no control over my turns until this confusion wears off, and even if I get it right, I'm only going to get a standard attack. I'm not going to be able to do Blade Twister. And I have no idea what option to pick, so I just pick the first one. Yeah, this is highly problematic, because all I can do is attack, and that's luck-based. I have no control over my turns, and that did big damage. I've got no control over my turns, and until the confusion wears off, so I've got no way of healing myself because I'm unable to do small heal. Okay, well, that wasn't as bad. It seems that that initial attack was a critical hit, but my HP is getting low, and small heal doesn't make a tremendous difference. It will heal my HP by about 800 or so. Wait, that did even less, didn't it? Well, I'm conscious, but it's not my turn. Right, I could heal, but I'm gonna try and win the battle. That should do it, and it has. Kotemon's level 27 now. Yeah, I forgot. When you're confused, I have a feeling you're also more prone to critical hits. The amount of damage that I was taking was higher due to critical hits. Without the critical hits, it really wasn't that bad. And I was aware that I was in a bit of a dangerous situation and I could have healed, but then had I healed and then got confused again, I just would have been in a real mess again. I was confident that with Blade Twister, as long as I get relatively lucky with how many attacks get evaded, or rather don't get evaded, then I would be able to finish the job, and that's what I did. So the battle went okay, I won it, but I was nibbling onto my nows more so than I would have liked. So we've reached the point in the game where things are starting to go a bit wrong. And we've tried to gain access to certain areas, but they're off limits to us. And off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly who to speak to, but I'm aware that at least one person, if not numerous people, mention that only, other than like authorized personnel, only lost Digimon can enter where we need to enter. Well, that's no use. That's no use either. Now I think that having spoken to that person and being notified of the fact that lost Digimon can access, I think we now need to speak to our friend again. And then the friend mentions that there was an elderly couple who were keen to try and become Digimon, and it was hinted that maybe they might know something. And if we head there now, I think they have Digimon costumes. Which they do. And they mentioned that Etamon gave it to them. And that one doesn't mention anything. Okay, now, I know that if you, I know eventually you need Etamon, or rather the human disguised as Etamon, you need him to give you suits, Digimon suits. I don't know if that can be done now. Wow, he's done away with his Etamon suit. Okay, it's not just yet. Okay, obviously there's more dialogue required. I think we need to find our friend again, and then I think she advises that there was never Etamon, it was just a suit, and the guy in there is the guy who was disguised as Etamon. His friend's not there anymore, but I think I know where she is. And then with that knowledge, we are then presented with Agumon suits. Right, now I think that we've done everything that we needed to do, and we will now be given our Digimon suits, which will then enable us access into where we need to go. So we've been given Agumon suits so that we can now both pretend to be Agumon. So we're disguised as a blue Agumon, and our friend Cal is disguised as a pink Agumon. I have to confess, I'm surprised by how convincing these Digimon suits are. I'm surprised that the guards are fooled by it. So we're in, But we can't really do much because there's guards blocking that area. Guards blocking there. I think this is a power charge. That'll be sold. I just have an obsession with opening every item box. Off limits. And here we are. I don't think we can manually explore in here any further. I think we enter here without any control over it, and then well, we get found out and then we have to leave again. So, Teddy is missing, and the Game Master is claiming that she doesn't know anything, and that the person behind this is Lucky Mouse, who is supposedly the villain in all of this. And we need to be going to the west sector, which at the moment is something we can't do. And now I need to try and just stop and remember, because I know I need Submarimon in order to go to the west sector, and to be able to summon him that has to take place in the south sector. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to do beforehand. If there's someone I need to speak to in order to trigger a chain of events. I'm going to save so that if I mess up and get it wrong, then it's not the end of the world, because the bit of progress that I have made is safe. And since I'm really not entirely sure, I'm going to head to the south sector, and I think initially I need to go to Phoenix Bay, because I know there's a character there who mentions something regarding where the needed Digi-Egg is. And then I think we go there and we realise that we can see it, but we can't gain access. And then we go to the Shaman house, speak to Sepicmon, and see if he can offer any kind of service, and then from there we get sent to the Protocol Ruins, where we can obtain some sort of bomb of some sort, to be able to do it, we need to have a TNT ball, which we've already got from the Triceramon. And then with the bomb or whatever it is that we're given, we can then make it to the Digi-Egg, be presented with Submarimon, and then we can make it to the West Sector. So, at the moment, I'm just heading to Phoenix Bay and hoping that I've got it right, hoping that I'm remembering correctly and that all will be good. When I do a challenge like this, which really steps up the difficulty, I often find myself focusing very heavily on the sort of battles that I'm going to be challenged with and the amount of grinding that I'm going to have to do. And I kind of lose focus on simple storyline matters. This is such an occasion, which is why I'm not 100% sure of what to do, or at least I'm not 100% confident. But I've got a rough idea, and well, if it goes wrong, I will make it right. But recapping on the difficulty, I mentioned that in the No Gym, No Equipment challenge, I was able to take down the South Sector leader with my Digimon only at level 20, and in this challenge, when I made it up to the South Sector city with my Kotemon at level 21, I made it clear that I wasn't confident and I wanted to learn Blade Twister before doing anything. Also getting myself up to level 26, but I'm sure you can understand that the reason why I wanted to make myself more advanced, more developed this time around in this challenge is because of the fact that I'm not allowed to use items in this, and Kotemon is on his own, as opposed to the No Gym, No Equipment challenge, when I was allowed to use items, and I was accompanied by a Renamon and a Patamon who were also level 20. And Kumamon joined the scene at some stage, but he wasn't part of the equation at the time. Another downside of fighting alone is that it completely rules out any chance of a DNA Digivolution, because when you switch one Digimon for another, depending on the Digimon that you're switching, you can do like DNA Digivolutions, which can help you out quite substantially. And I'm sure that I utilised that in my No Gym, No Equipment challenge, something that I cannot do in this challenge. In the No Gym, No Equipment challenge, I did have, you know, Kotemon learn Blade Twister, and, you know, Patamon and Renamon learning their Ultimate's signature move, and that was when entering the West Sector, because I had a real tough time and grinded at the Powder Oasis, fishing out Dolphmon. And I think from there, I then made storyline progress in the West Sector. But this time around, with me not being allowed to use items and with it being a Kotemon Solo, I think that before going to the west sector, I am going to be required to do an awful lot more grinding. And the reason why I say that is because when you go to the west sector city and take on the fake west sector leader, who is the AOA general, he I think only has 2 Numamon, and I'm relatively confident that I could defeat him now pretty easily. But then that's followed by the battle with the real west sector leader in the Mirage Tower. That battle can be a real nightmare, because I know he has a Mumamon who can freeze you with his attacks, and being frozen is a hugely hindering, because it can cause you to not be able to do anything, effectively skipping out your turns, and that can be very problematic, because it means I wouldn't have the ability to attack, I wouldn't have the ability to recover HP, and I sensed that I would be defeated in no time at all. And then soon after that, there's then the battle with Hyandromon, where he has one of those one-hit knockout attacks, which is going to pose huge problems, because I'm either going to have to hope for luck that it doesn't work on me, or defeat him really quickly before he has a chance to use it. And at level 27, under the restrictions of this challenge, I have got no chance. And then not long after that, there's even more troublesome battles like Warumunsimon, Datamon, the AOA in the Azuka city. So I've got a lot of grinding to do, but I do have I think I'm going the wrong way. I do have like a rough plan. I want to carry on with Kayakimon until I can load Cold Slash, which I think happens at level 80, and then I want to basically return to the south sector, return to the South Cape, and grind on Shaomon for the time being. Once I can load Cold Slash, I will want to go back to grinding with Greymon, so that I can get him up to level 40 and learn the Digivolution of Metal Greymon. Not only that, but getting Greymon up to level 50 can result in you learning the Digivolution of Skull Greymon if Kotemon's Darkness is at a minimum of 140. When I last checked, it was 126, but it is slowly increasing from level ups, and so there is the possibility of me learning the Digivolution of Skull Greymon should I get Greymon up to level 50. Maybe not immediately, because my Darkness might not be good enough, but if I can get Greymon up to level 50, there's always going to be the chance of Skull Greymon. Yeah. So Baronmon is good at making bombs, and that is our key to success. But I must be ending the part there. So thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next part.